Hello Wolfpack. ICX has been performing very well, Icon, since my last video. Since my last few videos on Icon, I mean, we picked up Icon all the way down here, literally at the bottom, like a few cents away from the bottom, down here in July. So the Wolfpack's very happy about that. Unfortunately, the Wolfpack was pretty small when that happened. So, you know, what can you do? But Icon's been performing very well. Got the mainnet launch coming up very shortly, and I think that, you know, a few airdrops coming up as well. But essentially, ICX is interoperability, focusing on bringing all of the chains together, because it's basically a future in which, you know, we're not going to have one blockchain ruling them all. A lot of blockchains are going to be doing a lot of different things, and we're going to have blockchains to connect those blockchains. That's what Icon is all about, essentially. The same thing with WAN chain, right? Every Icon video I mention WAN chain, every WAN chain video I mention Icon. They are very, very similar. WAN chain is just the Chinese version that is slightly higher risk, slightly higher reward. Icon is the South Korean version that is slightly lower risk, slightly lower reward, right? So it depends what you want. I have both, right? And you know, that's diversification there. That's hedging your bets as well. If Icon goes off and WAN chain gets left in the dirt, you still profited off interoperability, and you know, vice versa. So, but essentially, Icon, you know, it's been performing quite well. And a lot of people have been asking me for an analysis on it. I mean, it's only been 3 weeks since I did my last one, but I figured why not? Because there are things I want to talk about in Icon, and I think that a lot of people are getting blindsided, right? I am very bullish on Icon, but there are a few factors in which I want to talk about that may not be the most bullish, right? But essentially, Icon played out quite nicely. We drew out off memory, we drew out some sort of cup and handle formation here, and we can draw it quite quickly, and then the handle was something like that, right? I'm not going to try too hard to draw it, doesn't really matter, but essentially we got the price target here in the first test of the top, and we said something like this was going to play out. It's happening quite well so far, right? We've got plenty of time left, and if we just take a measured move from the top of the cup to the bottom of the cup and actually apply it to the current prices, just roughly, right? We can see that that's played out quite well as well, and we applied it there, and we've basically, I mean, there's two ways of looking at cup and handle formations, but looking at it this way, I'd say the cup and handle formation is fully played out. We're no longer reaping the benefits of that, right? We entered a downwards trend, right? We've seen some sort of downwards channel here, and we've just broken to the downside recently in the last couple of days. But I suppose you could draw it in a certain way where we haven't, right? You could draw it something like this. Obviously, this is just rough, but you could say that, you know, it's still holding that downwards channel, which is good to see, but downwards channels are typically bearish formations, so it'll be interesting to see what happens as a result of that. But what you could say, and what I have been looking at a lot actually, is looking at, well, this could potentially, this whole structure that we're seeing currently, and just give me 1 second here, it could actually be its own cup and handle formation, right? So we have the cup there, and then the downwards handle formation, and if we take a measured move from that, what we can see is that we'll be reaching a price target of around, well, it really does depend where we see a breakout, but say we break out in 3 days, right? We'll reach a price target there just above our next critical resistance zone at $2.70, right? So technically we're bullish, for structures bullish, but what I want to see, and what I wouldn't mind seeing, and I know this sounds ridiculous, and a lot of people who are new to crypto don't really understand this, I wouldn't mind seeing some consolidation. I don't necessarily just want to see an upwards move, right? Because ICX it's exhausted. It's exhausted. And I'll tell you why, right? We have a long-term, and this is the major point that I want to bring up, a long-term, right, since August 23rd, bearish divergence on the RSI. A divergence on the RSI is basically one of the most convincing signs you can have in technical analysis that means that the current rally you are in is unsustainable. Now, the thing with this bearish divergence is that we also have a bullish divergence on the RSI at the same time, right? So it's very hard to see whether this is a bad or a good thing, because they both kind of counteract each other, right? So we could say, yeah, we have a bearish divergence, you know, peaks getting higher and the RSI is getting lower in terms of peaks, but we're also lowering the bottoms on the RSI while highering the bottoms of the price. So you could actually say, and what I would say is you can cancel these out, right? And they both mean nothing, because when you have something like that with two conflicting points of data, the best thing to do is just basically cancel it out. So I would say that, you know, even though we just cancelled out that thing that I thought was very bearish, which is the RSI, I think that, you know, we still need to see some consolidation. What I would love to see on Icon here is potentially even going down to the bottom of his channel one more time at $1.60, right, which is our next support zone, bouncing around a little bit until early November, right, double bottoming probably, and then heading up to the upside, right, and then smashing through this resistance into December. As December happens, go a little bit higher, all-time highs by January, and then obviously most of the returns that happens on altcoins happens after Bitcoin tops out. So in January, hopefully we'll be at all-time highs by then. We can start making some heavy moves to the upside on Icon. Until that point, I'm not too stressed. I've got my bag. I'm secured. I'm not selling, right? I'm not bearish on it. But, I would like to see some consolidation, a little bit of regrouping, bringing that RSI down, resetting the MACD completely. We do have the potential, and this is why I want to see a double bottom, right? We do have the potential for a bullish MACD cross coming in, possibly within the next week, right? Within the next week. And, if we see a double bottom at 60, around $1.60, even $1.50 on the RSI, on the price, because $1.50 is a region in which we tried to come back up in May after the correction. So it's essentially flipping this entire structure if we come and retest $1.50, and it would be a higher low as well still. That would be great to see, But this is all just speculation, and I want to make it very clear. I don't think you should be waiting for those price points before buying. If you're thinking of buying Icon, just buy now, right? That's my personal opinion, because there's no guarantee we're going to go down those price points. I would just like to see that happen. And what I have supporting that is the fact that, well, when we were in this region moving up here, where did we come down to when we had corrections? We came down to, more often than not, $1.50 to $1.60 range. If we have truly re-entered this whole construction, we should be coming down to the $1.50 to $1.60 range, just like that, right? That'll be great to see. In terms of the VVPR, the volume profile, which is this thing on the side here, nothing really to say. We have a large amount of volume coming in at basically every price point for ICX. So lots of support everywhere, lots of resistance everywhere. It's not a good or bad thing. It's just neutral. Going to the weekly chart, what we can see, actually, let's bring up some indicators here. We haven't really looked at the SMAs. We can see that, and this is one of the reasons I want to talk about the SMAs, on the occurrence that we do drop down to this $1.60 to $1.50 range, we have the 100-day SMA waiting there for us, which we typically bounce off when we see it, right? So that'd be interesting to see whether that happens or not. Again, I don't think you should be waiting for those prices. I think if it happens, take advantage of it for sure. But, this is probably a really good opportunity to buy some ICX even at current prices, because it's already corrected substantially, right? And it's corrected from $2.70 all the way down to $1.86 at current prices. That's a 30% correction, right? You can't really be getting much better than that. At some point, you just have to buy. So we have the weekly chart here on ICX. Let's see what we've got here in terms of RSI and MACD. I haven't really checked this out too much. Nothing really to say on the MACD there. On the RSI. On the MACD, I will say that, if we do see an extensive downside period here, so potentially the next couple of weeks, right? I don't think we're going to be going down for a couple of weeks, but if we do see that, we have to be watching out for a bearish MACD cross. I don't think that's urgent, right? We'll come back to that if it does get urgent. Right now, I'm not worried about that at all. In terms of longer term price predictions, what we could say on Icon, and what I've said in the past, I think I've said this in the past, is that, well, I think it's going to go past its all-time high, right? I think it's going to go past its all-time high. I've got no doubt about that. I think that's basically, very likely occurrence. I mean, ICX is in the top 100. ICX is gathering a lot of attention. ICX has a lot of things coming up, and the interoperability space is only growing. I see no reason why it can't reach its 2017 price points, but worst case scenario, and I really love looking at worst case scenarios, right? Worst case scenarios are basically my hobby, because, if you look at the worst case scenario, you're never going to be disappointed. Worst case scenario, we take the price point ICX was at in March when Bitcoin was trading at 64K. We assume that Bitcoin's going to 113K, which is my price prediction. That's just under a 2x from 64K. And from that point, we can add 50% returns to ICX for it being an altcoin. Altcoins usually outperform Bitcoin. And we can bring ICX 130% upwards, right? I've done the calculations. And that will bring ICX to a price point of around $7.60, right? So that's the worst case scenario for Icon. A coin's bullish when even in the worst case scenario, it looks like it's going to go up 300%, right? And when will that occur by? Well, I've said that in the past, in my previous videos, that I think Ethereum's going to be topping out around February the 3rd, all right? So around there, and I think that will be happening, yeah, so $7.61 by February the 3rd. I know it says February 7th, just because we're on the weekly chart, you can't actually get it any closer, but February 3rd, and that looks realistic to me, right? Look at the sharpness of the move here in 2017 and look at what we'd need to do to go up to $7.60 by February the 3rd, right? Much less sharp, and circulating supply is basically identical, so there's really no reason why we can't go this sharp. If we did do this again, circulating supply is exactly the same, prices the same, so we're not really having diminishing returns here on Icon yet. Let's say we just had this a similar level of sharpness here on Icon as we did in that region, and we put it from, I don't know, maybe the start of December. We can see that, well, $13 is really not a problem at all, right? So I've got nothing to worry about on Icon in terms of bearishness. I think that short term we could be heading to $1.50 to $1.60, but I don't think that's a problem in terms of a medium term point of view. If you're looking into November, into December, this doesn't really matter, right? This price correction doesn't really matter. I will say, and there's not really much to say about the 4-hourly chart, to be honest. What we could say about the 4-hourly chart is that we are very low on the RSI, and we could be seeing a bottom right here potentially. We've got the MACD crossing coming, so it's very likely that this could be the bottom as well. But the Bitcoin pair is something I wanted to bring up on Icon. Do I think we're going to go back to all-time highs on the Bitcoin pair? No, I don't. I don't. Because the Bitcoin pair all-time high is 20, do I really need to say anything more? It's 2,500% away, right? Very unrealistic. Don't think we're going to go back there. In terms of the price, what did I say? The price is going to go up 300%. The Bitcoin pair is not going to go up, not going to go up 2,500%. 300% minimum, of course. I do think it's going to go back to its all-time high in the USD pair, but I'm being conservative. I'm saying my conservative prediction is $7.60. So I don't think it's going to go back to all-time high on the Bitcoin pair. We can basically cross that out. And what I do think could happen, right, is we could possibly go back to a region like this at 29,000 sats. Even that could be a stretch, though. I'm thinking what is most likely is probably around 14,000 sats to around here at around 9,000 sats, right? Between these two blue lines here, that's where I'm thinking ICX could be topping out. What I will note is that in the very short term, not even in the short term, actually, over the last couple of years, right, we have seen constant rejections off of 5,000 sats, right? We've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, and we also saw that region hold for support here in 2019. So 5,000 sats is definitely something we need to be breaking, and I think we will break it, right? I think we will break it. When we see that blow off top, 5,000 sats will definitely be flipped, and then we'll possibly, we don't have much resistance from that point until somewhere in this circle here. So I think that's going to be the top on the Bitcoin pair. Between 9,000 and 14,000 sats for Icon would be the Bitcoin pair top, in my opinion. What I will say about the Bitcoin pair is the fact that, well, once we conquer some of these lower resistance zones, right, look at the gaps between these resistance zones. They just get bigger and bigger. So the higher we go, the faster we will move, and that's for sure, right? So Icon's looking bullish. Don't stress if we go down to $1.60 to $1.50. That's completely normal if we do see that. If we don't see that, that's even better for us. But ideally, I think it's very clear to say, it's very obvious to say, you don't have to be a rocket science to say that this current upwards trend is a little bit suspicious. I would like to see some, at least, a drop would be great, to be honest, but at least any kind of sideways consolidation, not that long, but into early, mid-November, that would be great to see, and then continue the move upwards. It would look good. A correction would look good as well. You have to think at some point, what does this chart look like? And it looks like it's just been going up for a while, right? Corrections are completely normal. Don't be scared. This is part of a normal market process, something going upwards. So bullish on Icon. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.